Greetings, fellow Helldivers. I am the shadow that dives alongside you, and I'm here to talk about something that I absolutely love to do. You know, besides delivering managed democracy and liberty, of course. Yeah, I'm here to talk about being able to use a nice, solid melee weapon to beat down these oh wait, actually, fire is more my style, if I'm being honest. Yeah, there's just something about having that righteous, purifying heat that melts away that tyrannical evil that festers and destroys our wonderful galaxy. There's just something about the smell of their cooked flesh, the sound of their metal popping as the oil within boils and expands. There's something about hearing the weird, incomprehensible gibberish of calamari talk as they cry out for mercy. I'm sure that's what they're doing. I can't understand them, but who cares, honestly? Either way, I have to say that is by far my most favorite thing to do. But when I'm not burning things, I actually enjoy to... Why don't you just come over here? Let's have a better chat over here. Because I want to talk about melee weapons. Because I don't know about you, but I love melee weapons. Now, everything I'm about to say here is all based on my own opinion. I'm not trying to make any sort of tier list of what's good and what's bad. This is just me enjoying something, wanting to share my enjoyment of it, and telling you all my thoughts about it. Whether you agree or disagree, that's entirely up to you. I know every Helldiver likes to spread democracy in their own way. So, let's start with the sword. I, personally, love the sword. It is, by far, my most favorite melee weapon to use. I mean, it's a sword. It's a saber. And it cuts very well. It takes limbs off, cuts right through enemies with good aim. You can easily take off an enemy's head. It doesn't matter if they're made of metal, doesn't matter if they're made of chitin, doesn't matter if they're made of flesh covered in undemocratic metals. The sword will get the job done, one way or another. It looks great too. It's beautiful. It's a marvel of democratic ingenuity. It's certainly my most favorite weapon, melee weapon, to take into any battle. Of course, usually when I have armor that makes it so I can melee a lot more efficiently and effectively, sure. So I'm going to rate everything out of 10 stars. Because that's just how I'm going to do it. And for me personally, I think I would give the sword, the saber, a 9 out of 10. That's just my own opinion. That's just what I believe. Because of all the melee weapons that we currently have, it is my most favorite thing to go to. You can slash while jumping at enemies. You can easily take an enemy's head off with one hit if you aim properly. Of course, having an armor set that gives you more melee damage does help. It looks great, so yes, 9 out of 10 for me, personally. And now on to the next melee weapon. Let's go with the machete. It's good. It's good. It does kill a lot more quickly, a lot more efficiently, a lot more easily. The only problem I have with it is how slow it is to swing back to back. It looks great. It looks menacing. It looks like it's ready to deal some damage. It cuts through enemies like a hot knife in butter. it's just so slow. And for that reason, I think I would probably make that more of a 7. Yeah, I think I would go with a 7 on that. Simply because usually if you end up getting swarmed, the big thing is swarms. How fast are you able to fight back the enemy? How often can you make a swing to cut down or beat down something trying to take you down? So being able to swing fast is really a necessary... It's the most necessary part of using any sort of melee weapon. So the fact that it's slow, I would put it more of a 7. I wouldn't go so far as to say 6, because there are certainly some melee weapons I think that are much worse. But I'll keep it at a solid 7. Next, I'll go with the hatchet, which honestly, when it first came out, everyone was using it. Everyone was hyping it up. I didn't think it would be that good, so I had avoided it when it first released. I was still trying to burn things. Burning was very much my passion. But now that I've gotten more into melee weapons, I figured I'd expand a little bit and try different types of melees. And with the hatchet, this thing surprised me. This thing. Ooh. You can there's just something about chopping into a terminite's head or into its limbs, hearing that sickly crunch as your blade goes right through it. It's just so satisfying. And then there's also the recoil when it hits right back. Oh, you can just feel the power. That's a nice melee weapon. It does swing pretty fast too. I have noticed that. The one thing I do not like about it is it doesn't really seem to have as much cleaving potential as, let's say, the saber. Because I find that in some cases the saber is able to hit multiple enemies at once. I haven't really seen that when using the hatchet, and for that reason I probably wouldn't rate it as high. It's certainly, in my opinion, better than at least the machete, simply because it's faster. You can swing faster, you can recover faster, and it just feels powerful. I slept on it. I'm sorry for sleeping on it. And I hope that the hatchet can forgive me. I think I'll give this one a good solid 8. Yeah. I'll give it an 8. Still going on bladed items. I don't know if it really counts, but hell, I'll go with it anyway. The bayonet on the Constitution. It was pretty much the first ever melee that we ever got. The knife at the end of a rifle, which at the time everyone thought was amazing. Sort of. It certainly has its downsides. The fact that it's a thrust weapon means you don't really have a lot of play with being able to get cleave. You can't really get a lot of other enemies. It's more of a thrust once to get the guy in front of you, that's it. And for some reason, I find that whenever I try to use it, I swear it misses. It misses more than any other weapon. Someone could maybe say it's a skill issue. I don't know. There's another variant of it where it has, I forget the name of the weapon. I never use it. It does light armor penetration. It has an ammo clip rather than the single reload. I forget what it's called. I never use it because I don't care about light armor pen. I swear I hit with that one, melee-wise, way more than I do with the Constitution. I don't know if maybe the Constitution weighs a little bit more or it's just less aerodynamic. But the Constitution, I seem to almost always miss while using it, or I have trouble landing those necessary hits. The other one, I almost always land the hit. I always get the kill. It's just the light armor pen. I can't use it. I think I would rate this one maybe a 6, simply because it's also attached to a rifle. So you can do long range damage, and again, it's medium armor penetration, which I do enjoy. The only problem is it does like what, 5 bullets worth of damage before you just got to start reloading, and then you got this really slow single bullet reload, which is, I personally appreciate that, simply because I like older weapons. I appreciate the older types of weapons, and it, you know, it gives a historical feel to it, makes it feel like an old weapon. The thing is, weapons like these, you can either load them individually with the bullets, or they had things called stripper clips, where you had a piece of metal that guides a bunch of bullets onto the metal. You can hold it, and then you can put the clip in, and then just shove all the bullets in all at once. And it's like, why haven't we implemented this? Why don't we use this? I mean, the revolver that we have had the same problem. At first, there was no speed load. It was literally, you had to individually put one bullet in at a time. But at some point, the devs, High Command, decided to give us a speed load ability. Once you run out of all the bullets, you can just speed load. Boop, put them all together. Boop, you can put them all there. And start shooting again. But for some reason, they refused to give the Constitution a stripper clip. I mean, you could still have the bullets, the one at a time bullet reload. I still think that's cool. But again, stripper clip. This is a thing that exists. And I know how much High Command likes to talk about, oh, it's realism this, realism that. We need to keep it as realistic as possible. If you want to talk about realism, let's be real and acknowledge that this is a real thing that has existed. But I guess the only difference is they actually want you to use the revolver. I don't think they really care for you to use the Constitution, the rifle. I think that's more of a gimmicky thing that they threw out as a type of, here, it's a joke weapon, but have fun if you can make it fun. Whereas the revolver, I think they were like, oh, this is a real thing we want you to use. This is a real thing that we want everybody to enjoy. So that's probably why they gave one thing a quick reload, while the other thing did not get a quick reload. Shut up and get to the point! I realize I just got way off topic. I'm here talking about melee weapons. I started talking about the reload of guns. I only went down that path because, again, the bayonet is affixed to this rifle. And if we had that speed reload, I think I would easily take this from a 6 to, personally, an 8. I would say an 8. Again, this isn't a professional tier list. I'm just a diver who's taking a quick few moments of rest time before my next dive just to share my opinions on some stuff. So now that we're done with actually semi-blade. The lance. The lance is the stun lance. I enjoy this so much. It was my favorite go-to weapon until the saber, of course. It was my favorite go-to weapon because, one, the moment you hit something with it, it would get stunned. Less so now. Something seems to have changed over time where certain enemies take multiple hits now to get stunned rather than getting stunned on the first hit. I don't really look at patch notes. I don't really follow certain things. I wish the devs, High Command, made it easier to follow changes and what's what. I mean, there's this little area here off to the side with all these monitors here. They've been there since the very beginning. I don't know what they're for. I wish they could maybe implement something to where whenever there's been an update or a change, you can just go there activate a terminal and see, oh, here's a list of all the changes. You know, bug fixes, modifications, damage number, whatever. Just make it a bit more convenient, which I guess there are ways to find this information out, but what, there's like wikis you gotta go to, or you gotta subscribe to that one guy who knows where to get all the information drops, which is fine, I guess, but when I just want to get in and go, I wouldn't mind just being able to just go to the terminal, click the button, see if there's anything changed for the stuff that I like to use, and then move on. It probably won't stop me, though. I mean, when they completely destroyed the way flame weapons and fire worked, I still used it. I didn't care. I like burning things. One way or another, I will find a way to burn it. So with the lance, it used to stun just about any enemy with one hit, unless they had like heavy armor that would just make the weapon bounce right off of it. Then you couldn't really stun them. But I enjoyed it mostly for the fact that you can use it with the ballistic shield. It's a one-handed weapon that you could use from behind the ballistic shield. You don't need to drop it in order to swing to do your attack. With any of the other melee weapons, the saber, the axe, the machete, the baton, those things, you actually have to lower your shield to do a quick swing, and that leaves you exposed for like a good second. And when you're being swarmed, the last thing you want to do is be exposed, even for just a moment. So the fact that you can hide behind your ballistic shield and still thrust to do the attack, it's good. Plus, there are certain enemies where if you aim right, you can essentially just take them out with one hit, even without having the extra damage. But having that extra damage armor is very much necessary for consistent, easy kills. Now, I have also tried it with other types of shields just to see if you can still use it the exact same way. And, you know, with your normal bubble shield, you use it normally. You got two hands, you just thrust. And the bubble shield is good. It can stop melee attacks as well as projectiles, although not very consistently. It's been this way for like a while, since I think, as long as I can remember, since the very beginning where I've tried to use the bubble shield. There are instances where melee still get through, but it also blocks those things at the same time. So it's like, does the bubble shield protect you or not? Is this a bug or is this a feature? What's going on? It's very inconsistent. Because there have been times when I've had my bubble shield at full health, full power, because it had just recharged, or I had just summoned it down, and I'm being chased, and then I get hit by, what is it, the hunter? Those annoying ass, I hate this thing, where it just flies from halfway across the map. It hits me with that tongue, with its tongue ability, with its tongue, ugh, disgusting creatures. And it slows me down, and then whap whap, it just two taps me with its normal hands, and the shield didn't block any of it. And it's like, what's happening here? This thing is supposed to protect me. It's like, oh, okay, I guess maybe the fact that it's a bubble shield, energy shield, not a actual physical shield, means that I shouldn't be getting, maybe I should be getting hit by this. But then there are times when I'm being surrounded by like 20 different bugs, and they're swiping at me, and it blocks every melee attack, and I'm completely safe. And it's like, what are we doing here? Are you protecting me or not? Am I safe or not? Getting off topic again. Really, these energy shields are best used if you're using melee against the green bugs, or anything that shoots, anything that spits, gives a projectile, whatever. This is what this is good for. But they're just gonna melee. They're more than likely just gonna melee right through it, and at that point, you might as well just be using the normal ballistic shield. The only problem with the ballistic shield is that it has a lifespan. The others, once they run out of energy, they pop. You wait a little bit, they recharge, they're good to go. The ballistic shield, at some point it'll break. And when it breaks, you're exposed. And when you're exposed, you're dead. And there are some moments where when the ballistic shield breaks, for some reason it trips you. It knocks you over. I mean, I don't understand that, but it happens. But either way, being able to use a shield with the lance is another one of the main reasons I enjoy using it. So lance by itself, I would maybe say 7. I still don't like that it's a thrust, which means it's a mostly individual striking weapon. You can't cleave. You can't really deal a lot of damage to anything around it. You just gotta deal with the one thing. But the fact that it can stun is the best part. It can actually help keep you out of a bad situation if you stun an enemy. And it helps more if they get stunned on the first hit rather than having to do 2 or 3 hits, which... So yeah, 7. But if I have it with like a ballistic shield, I might give it like a 9. I might raise it up to a 9 if I have the ballistic shield equipped. And on the subject, actually, it still has a blade. Completely forgot about it. But the flag, our one true flag, the symbol of managed democracy, of liberty, of hope, a better future. I also tried this. It's pretty much the exact same thing as the lance, which means it completely sucks. It's amazing. It is 10 out of 10. No, absolutely 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10. They're the one true flag. Praise the flag. Love the flag. Be the flag. Sorry, I don't know what happened to me there. Yeah, the flag. It's pretty much the lance. The thing with the flag is that it looks like it's longer than it really is. Like, if you look at the length of the flag, it looks like it should be able to have more of a range, more of a distance than, say, the lance would. But I find that they pretty much have the exact same range. And also, they seem to do the exact same amount of damage. And the flag seems to have a stun effect to it for some reason. Similar to the way the stun lance works. You stab them, and it seems to stun them. I might have been imagining it, but I swear I've tried it multiple times to test it out. It looks like everything from the stun lance was just moved onto the flag. The only difference is the flag, you can place it in the ground so you can salute it. You can shove it down in your enemies to let them know who conquered them. And you can wave it around so that everyone can see who stands victorious in this battlefield. It is the flag. 11 out of 10. One and only flag. True flag. Super Earth. Praise it. I don't know what happened there. So, the other thing with the flag is that, similarly to the lance, you can also use it while using a shield, which is useful. So, I guess I would give it the exact same rating as the lance. 11 out of 10. What was it? 7, and with the ballistic shield, a 9. Simply because they feel like they're the exact same thing. They're pretty much the exact same thing. If the flag actually used its reach the way it should, because again, it's longer than the lance, you would think that it would be able to stab enemies from a further distance. If it was able to do that, maybe a 10 with ballistic shield. Or maybe an 8 without ballistic shield, just because I'll have more reach and I'll be safer from a distance. But no, I'm just gonna give it the exact 11 out of 10. The exact same stats as the lance. And now, turning from one stun weapon to another stun weapon, the baton, the stun baton. I'm not against it, but I'm not really for it either. With the extra melee damage, it does good damage output. It does decent damage output, but there are certain enemies that you just gotta beat. Like that thing has to become a pinata. You just gotta beat it and beat it and beat it and beat it. The good thing is you have that stun part to it, which means the enemy will most likely just sit there and just take it. But it's not it's not really the only thing that's really going for it is the stun, in my opinion. It's good, but it's not as good as you would hope. So I might give that I try not to go below 5, because going below 5 seems like, I think just the stun potential alone makes it a 5. If it didn't have that stun potential, it would definitely be below a 5, at least in my opinion. It's useful, especially if you're crowded. You can just swing, stun some enemies, and then quickly get to safety. But for running in trying to kill everything, it's not really the choice you want. Because just beating one enemy to death with the stun baton takes too long. And then having a swarm around you, it just use it to get away. Just use it to run away. And if you're also just trying to quickly get away, just go with your fist. A normal melee attack. You know, the butt of your gun, or just your fist. It doesn't do a lot of damage. We as humans, we are strong, but we're limited. There's only so much we can do. So, fists alone, I think I'd go with the 3. Just because there's not a lot that you can kill with your fists. You can. It just, some enemies take a while. If you're able to get that one, if you get the angle right, you can like headshot certain enemies with just one hit and takes them out instantly. The glass jaw, like some of us clearly do boxing on one of the colony planets, but you won't always get those hits. But the best part about it is all you got to do is get one good hit, and it gives you just enough space to either pull out a gun or run away or quickly toss a nade, whatever. So 3 out of 10 for bare hands. And then we now have the chainsaw. This is a beauty. This is wonderful. This thing can kill just about anything. It struggles with swarms, but honestly, any melee kind of struggles with swarms. The only thing I really don't like about it is that it's a stratagem. I think I would prefer this to have been a primary weapon. Not a secondary like all the other melees, but like the first ever primary melee weapon. Not including the bayonet from the Constitution. I think this thing, the fact that it requires both hands, I think is what makes it more primary weapon potential. I think it would be better to have this as a primary. Sure, you probably want a gun when diving into the swarms of democracy-hating, treasonous filth, but who wouldn't want to cut something down as well? But the fact that it's a stratagem kind of limits how often you would actually use it. I mean, if I could like have the chainsaw as a primary, the baton as a secondary, and then have the one true flag on my back, just nothing but melee. I think some people would get mad. I think I would be called a troll. I might be kicked, you know, whenever I choose to use dead sprint. Again, I live by dead sprint. I think it's great. It's great. It's just that I gotta stop using it. I actually have to train myself to stop using it, because whenever someone sees dead sprint, they immediately kick me. Or if I join a game that's mid play and I grab dead sprint, they keep kicking everyone until they find whoever has the dead sprint. Or they'll just call you every swear and slur in the book. But if I'm using melee weapons, I guess having more health, the ability to survive hits better, that's usually what I go with if I'm doing something melee. I think I got off track again. Sorry, I don't know where that came from like this. Yes. So, having it as a stratagem limits how often it can be used, because you just have other things. You have, that powerful sniper rifle that can, like, take out Hulks easily. I rarely use it, but I've been told that it's very good. You have the expendable rockets, which are great. I love using those as well, because they take out almost anything. The only problem I have with them is I sometimes assume I always have one on my back and I forget to pick one up after I've already used one, and I'm now exposed when something big actually runs up on me, and I'm like, shoot. What do I do? Anyway, there are better options to call down for a lot of scenarios than, say, the defoliation tool, the chainsaw. So you don't get a lot of play out of it. So having it as a primary... Oh, yeah. I meant to say I would love to have the chainsaw, the baton, and the flag. Because imagine someone's running up on you. Say it's a hunter, or one of those bots with the chainsaw hands, or one of those squids with the little sticky stick, and they run up on you. They want to smack you. All you got to do is hit them with the baton. They get stunned just long enough so you can pull out the defoliation tool, and they have to stand there unable to do anything and watch as you yank that cord, charge it up, and then you saw them in half. They just stand there. They have to take it. And then once their limbs remain resting upon the ground, you pull out that flag and you stab it into them. You salute the flag and let them know that you did all of this to prove a point. That would be amazing. So yes, I would prefer the defoliation tool be a primary. The other thing I don't like about the defoliation tool is it will get stuck in the slicing animation on certain enemy types, which makes it so you can't swing at another enemy. I think more, I mean, like, if there's already a dead body on the ground, and if you walk into it, it'll still register as cutting through something. So rather than stopping the animation of sawing, it'll still keep going, which leaves you open for an attack that keeps you exposed for a bit. But I love the fact that it can go right through pretty much any kind of armor. It may take some time to get through and actually do the bulk of the damage, but it can essentially do anything. And I would like to put it as a 10, simply because I just have so much fun with it. The fact that it's a stratagem and I don't get to have the ability to use it as often makes it to where I don't. So I would probably put this as a 9 out of 10. If it was a primary weapon, I would definitely make it a 10 out of 10. It's so much fun. It does so much damage. It has so much potential to do so many great things. But stratagem-wise, the fact that it's a stratagem, I gotta leave it as a 9. And on the subject of stratagems, it's not actually a melee weapon, but you can still use it sort of like a melee weapon. I'm talking about the Warp Pack. Now, I love this thing because 1, I can get around quickly. 2, if I'm in trouble, I can quickly zip out of trouble. 3, if I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, I can just teleport through the hard place and just get out of dodge. Or let's say I find a bunker and I'm like letting everyone know, hey, there's a bunker here, and absolutely nobody cares to come join me. I'll be like, fine, I can do it myself. I just jump in, warp in. I got the bunker. I'm in the bunker. And what do I find? Like 2 stacks of super credits or something. And it's like, why wouldn't I carry this? But it's got a lot of uses. I enjoy it. But one of the things that I really like about it is that with certain enemy types, if you warp into them, you blow them up from the inside out. You pop them. They were there, then you warped. You're there, they're no longer there. And now you're covered in the blood of your enemies. It's sweet. It smells a little bit, but it smells like victory. The only problem is there are certain enemy types where if you try to teleport into them, you're gonna die. You will die. Certain enemies of a certain height, certain build, you will die if you warp into them. They might die too, but you absolutely will die. So, ignoring all of its other abilities, the Warp Pack as a melee weapon, for me, I think just because I will die if I warp into certain enemies, and you have to aim it perfectly. If you're off by just a little bit, you'll either warp behind them, beside them, or just right in front of them, and the enemies, they seem to expect that you'll warp, so they'll attack immediately. They read your mind. They know what's going to happen. So the exact moment you warp, they're attacking you. So you have to time it just right. You have to get the distance just right. But if you get it right, you can hit and kill your enemy. Sometimes even multiple enemies at once, which is great. So it even has a small bit of crowd control potential, just a little bit. So for those reasons, I might make it somewhere between a 6 and a 7. Simply because it has a lot of potential. No, I'll leave it as a 6. I'll leave it as a 6. Because it also has that cooldown to it. If you use it too much, you might start hurting yourself. You might set yourself on fire. Or you might just blow yourself up altogether. So it has a limit to how often you can use it. So it makes you really consider what's the best way to use it. So you can't use it often as a melee weapon. And again, warping into certain enemies will just get you killed. Or it won't work at all. Certain large enough enemies, you'll just go right through them and get behind them, or you might get on top of them. So I'll have to solidly put this as a 6. So that's my thoughts on melee weapons. As someone who enjoys melee weapons, getting hands-on, having to get so close that my enemies stare into my visor and know that I am looking back at them with disdain as I cut them down. Ooh, it makes everything so much better. And those are my feelings. Those are my opinions on all the melee weapons. From your bare fists to a warp pack that's not technically a melee weapon but can be used as a melee weapon, all the way up until a two-handed beast of a chainsaw that can destroy just about anything and everything. I bet if you gave it just... Oh, wait. I actually forgot one. The shovel. I don't use the shovel. Every so often on certain maps you can find a shovel just sitting around. I think it'd be cool if it was a secondary option that you can have in the armory. But when you pick it up from just the ground, it counts as a stratagem. It sits in the stratagem slot on your back, which kind of silly, in my opinion. I know you probably shouldn't question the devs, high command. You shouldn't question what high command deems appropriate, but having a tiny little shovel, not just a shovel, but a shovel that folds to be even smaller on your back in a stratagem slot doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. That I think that would work best as a secondary. It hits pretty well. The main thing you do with it is joke around and dig in the dirt. There's some people who just like to dig trenches, dig latrines. There are people who just like to be in the dirt. But as a melee weapon, it doesn't really do anything. It feels similar to the hatchet in some ways. But again, the fact that it takes up a stratagem slot and you can only find it on the map, so it's completely at random whether you'll find it and how quickly you could possibly find it. I would have to I would probably say 6. I would have to give the shovel a 6 out of 10. So yes, that is my full rating of the melee weapons that we can use to spread liberty and freedom. And whether you all agree or disagree is entirely up to you. If you want to comment, leave a comment. Let me know if there's something you prefer more or something you prefer better. But I look forward to seeing you all down on the battlefield. Or not. Some of you don't know how to use 380s or 500 kgs. I usually just run alone. And sometimes when I'm trying to melee things, people like to take my kill. I know we're all working together, but come on.